You might think that for such an expensive and complicated show to make that there wouldn't be much room for improvisation in Doctor Who, but that's where you'd be wrong. In and around all the special effects, there are plenty of quiet character moments and conversations. Perfect opportunities for the countless talented actors who've graced the Whoniverse to flex their muscles beyond what's on the page. And that's exactly what this lot did. I'm Ellie for Who Culture here with 10 more Doctor Who moments you didn't know were improvised. Number 10. The Dog's Unmentionables, The Magician's Apprentice. Three things are inevitable in Stephen Moffat's Doctor Who: time travel plots, epic speeches, and lots of innuendo. There's the 10th and 11th Doctors comparing sonic screwdrivers, the Master's etheric beam locators in The Curse of Fatal Death, and not to mention the endless supply of browser history jokes. Not all of these moments came directly from the keyboard of the Moff, however, because one of the funniest was in fact an ad-lib. Series 9 opener The Magician's Apprentice has Missy propose an alliance with the Daleks, who she previously worked with as the Master in the classic serial Frontier in Space. She urges the Daleks to not destroy the Doctor's TARDIS, which she humorously describes as the dog's unmentionables, before tickling the bumps on a nearby Dalek. The dialogue itself all came from Moffat, but it was Michelle Gomez's idea to add the visual gag, as she confirmed during a live Twitter Q&A where she described it as a, quote, spontaneous outreach. Clearly, stroking a Dalek's sense globes was too good an opportunity to pass up, and you know what? Fair enough. This wasn't the first time Gomez had gone off script to create a memeable moment either, with her "Hey Missy, you're so fine" sing-along in the Series 8 finale also being improvised. Further proof that she was perfect casting for the role.
Before we go any further, this video is brought to you by Surfshark. Using a VPN like Surfshark is a bit like wearing pants. All the important stuff stays private and secure when you're out and about online. Thanks, Surfshark! Not only that, but we've all spent an evening scrolling through Netflix just because you can't find something you want to watch. Well, with Surfshark, you can change your virtual location to access all your favourite content. Whether that be your favourite US TV shows or a movie that you are desperate to watch but for some reason is only available in Peru. Cheers, Peru! First Paddington, now this, you're alright. Plus, you can minimise buffering and lag with fast, reliable connections and enjoy seamless streaming with unlimited bandwidth for all users. They also offer over 3,200 different servers in over 100 locations. I mean, there is no way you could guess them all. I adore all their different locations. I mean, for Surfshark, I Uzbekistan.
Are you finished?
Yeah, let's go. I'm hungry. They also offer 24/7 customer support and a 30-day money-back guarantee. And why not check out Surfshark Alert 2, a breach detection system that notifies you of personal data leaks. Click the link in the description or use code WHOCULTURE at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. And now, back to the video.
Number 9. Braveheart Tegan, Earthshock. The third Doctor had Reverse the Polarity, the fourth Doctor had Would You Like a Jelly Baby, and the fifth Doctor had Braveheart, a phrase uttered to his long-serving and long-suffering companion Tegan throughout her time in the TARDIS. But like many great catchphrases, it emerged by accident rather than by design. The first instance of the Doctor offering these words of encouragement was in Earthshock Part 2, and it wasn't actually scripted at all. It was improvised by Peter Davison during rehearsals. It took a few stories, but the phrase then stuck, with the Doctor using it to reassure Tegan once again in Enlightenment, Warriors of the Deep, and The Awakening, all of which we assume were now scripted. Tegan would echo the Doctor's words back to him in Resurrection of the Daleks and the Caves of Androzani, before the 11th Doctor said it to Clara in The Crimson Horror. Davison was then given one final chance to say it in The Power of the Doctor, over 40 years since his initial ad-lib. It just goes to show that iconic lines really can come from anywhere. Number 8. It's Bigger on the Inside, Smith and Jones. In The Husbands of River Song, the 12th Doctor makes a hilariously over-egged speech about the TARDIS being bigger on the inside, pretending to be an oblivious newbie whose entire understanding of physical space has been transformed. It's a glorious moment, but this wasn't the first time that the stock response to the TARDIS's dimensions had been played for laughs. Following a fairly standard bigger on the inside scene in Rose, Smith and Jones presented the crew with an opportunity to have a bit more fun when new companion Martha Jones came on the scene. Hence why, when Martha enters the TARDIS at the end of the episode and speaks that iconic line, the Doctor mouths along before sarcastically responding, "Is it? I hadn't noticed." Although the dialogue here was scripted, the Doctor miming along with Martha saying bigger on the inside was actually an ad-lib by David Tennant. It's a funny moment in its own right, but it's also totally in keeping with the more aloof characterization of the Doctor in Series 3 following the loss of Rose. This is a Doctor who has much less time for prospective companions than usual, yet still finds himself showing off, even when no one's looking. Doctor's gonna doctor. Number 7. The Doctor drums. Boom. It's always important for the actors who play the Doctor to get some of their own personality and quirks into the character. The 13th Doctor's love of custard creams actually came from Jodie Whittaker, while the 12th Doctor's guitar obsession was also shared by Peter Capaldi. These details enrich each incarnation and make them feel distinct. And they also give us some interesting behind-the-scenes stories to discuss here on the channel, so there's another plus. It didn't take long for Ncuti Gatwa to follow suit in this regard, with the actor bringing his own unique energy to the 15th Doctor right from the off. It's hard to imagine any other Doctor delivering "someone tell me what the hell is going on here" quite as well as he did. But a much more notable Gatwa contribution came towards the end of Stephen Moffat's Boom, when the Doctor celebrates the defeat of the sinister Villengard algorithm by playing a little drum routine. As revealed by Moffat during a Doctor Who Day watch-along of Boom in 2024, this moment came directly from Ncuti Gatwa. Moffat said, quote, "Ncuti's drum routine, all his, and a moment that only his Doctor could do. You're always looking for those." The drum routine definitely feels very Gatwa-y, and so even without this knowledge, you could probably guess that it was his idea. It's hard to imagine any other Doctor pulling it off in quite the same way. Number 6. I know these teeth, the power of the Doctor. For casual viewers, David Tennant's cameo in The Power of the Doctor was probably quite a surprise. But thanks to the early announcement that he was returning for the 60th anniversary, hardcore fans had more than a sneaking suspicion that it would be the former 10th Doctor who Jodie Whittaker regenerated into. Many other fans had even figured out exactly how the episode was going to end, right down to the dialogue itself. 10th Doctor finales, Doomsday and Last of the Time Lords, both end with the Doctor exclaiming, "What? What? What?" in response to something unexpected appearing in the TARDIS, Catherine Tate and the Titanic, respectively. The phrase also featured in the 2007 Children in Need special Time Crash and in the original deleted conclusion to Journey's End. As a result, it was all but inevitable that "what" would be one of the first things Tennant said when he reappeared in the show as the 14th Doctor. The 14th Doctor's other first line, "I know these teeth," was a callback to Tennant's first appearance as the 10th Doctor in The Parting of the Ways, where he made reference to his teeth. Also, it wasn't scripted. David added the bit about teeth. Showrunner Russell T Davies confirmed to Doctor Who magazine, "That's his line." And it turns out that when it came to 10th Doctor references in the 60th anniversary specials, this was only the beginning. Not only did Tennant's most iconic catchphrase, "Alon Z," make a comeback, but we also got the Shadow Proclamation, an Adipose and a Jadoon, and best of all, a shout out to Nerys. Bloody Nerys! In 2023! What a time to be alive. Number 5. Grim-Wade Syndrome, the Robots of Death. Tom Baker had a funny relationship with scripts, and he rarely stuck to them word for word. This often caused headaches for the production team, but one ad-lib that did meet their approval came in The Robots of Death. In part 4 of this acclaimed murder mystery, the Doctor makes reference to robophobia, which, as it says on the tin, is the fear of robots. As scripted, this condition was also known as Grimwald Syndrome, but by the time the episode went before cameras, it had been changed to Grim-Wade Syndrome, in tribute to real-life production assistant Peter Grimwade. Grimwade had reportedly complained that the serials he was attached to always featured robots, so this ad-lib is smarter than it first appears. The story goes that Baker couldn't recall the scripted name and so cheekily called it Grimwade Syndrome during rehearsals. With Grimwade going on to direct Baker's final serial Logopolis, among others, the joke actually becomes quite heartwarming in retrospect. Number 4. Nardolisms, Oxygen. If no actor has embodied the role of the Doctor more than Tom Baker, then the companion equivalent must surely be Nardole. With his trademark quirkiness and impeccable comic timing, Matt Lucas was a perfect fit for the role, and absolutely nobody else could have played him. Watching Lucas in interviews, it's hard to see where he ends and Nardole begins. Like Baker, Lucas also has no qualms about playing around with the script and adding his own contributions here and there, as he recalled to Doctor Who The Fan Show in 2017. In the Series 10 episode Oxygen, this gave us such gems as Some of My Best Friends Are Bluish, Nardole joining the group hug at the end, originally meant to just be the Doctor and Bill, and his unusual attempt to polish his helmet near the start. You have to trust the process, Lucas summarised. They'll get into the edit and do lots of different cuts, and they'll figure out what works. We might never know which Nardolisms didn't make it in, but the ones that did were a crucial part of what made the character so endearing. Number 3, here we go again, Planet of the Spiders. 40 years before Nardole entered the scene, the Third Doctor had his own right-hand man in the form of the Brigadier. And like Matt Lucas, actor Nicholas Courtney was partial to a cheeky bit of improv. Though the Brigadier was mostly played straight, Courtney explained to Den of Geek that he had lots of comic potential, and that he would try to get adlibs into scenes as a way of exploring that side of the character. This resulted in such classics as the Brig's reference to a female Prime Minister in Terror of the Zygons, correctly anticipating Margaret Thatcher's rise to power. But Courtney's greatest contribution came in the Third Doctor swan song Planet of the Spiders, where he suggested a line that perfectly summed up his, the audience's, and the Brigadier's feelings about once again having to contend with a change of Doctor. Well, here we go again. So iconic is this line that it was quoted by Madame Vastra 40 years later in the 12th Doctor's debut story Deep Breath. Not bad for an ad-lib, and a much more tasteful tribute to Courtney than Cyberbrig, many would agree. Number 2, River Reunion, The Time of Angels. Given how important to the Doctor Who universe she's since become, it's easy to forget that River Song, the best character, wasn't always a recurring character. After her debut in 2008, it took a whole 2 years for her to return to the show. But when the time came, she arrived in style, strutting along the corridors of the Byzantium in high heels, before flying out the ship's airlock and straight into the TARDIS. As you do. Speaking to Doctor Who Confidential, director Adam Smith recalled that this sequence was present and correct in the script, save for one important detail. He explained, quote, "It's not actually scripted that she lands on top of him, but it was something that Matt came up with in rehearsal. We just thought it might be quite funny." Presumably, the original intention was for River to enter the TARDIS in a more graceful manner, without getting so up close and personal with the Doctor. However, the revised version is much more fitting for these two characters, and much more funny for us viewers. It probably wasn't quite as funny for poor Matt Smith though, who at one point got Alex Kingston's knee straight in the dog's unmentionables. Ouch. The fact that this was Smith's idea is even more impressive when you consider that The Time of Angels was the first story he shot as the Doctor. Clearly, he was well and truly embodying the character, even at this early stage. Number 1, Rah Rah Rasputin, The Power of the Doctor. Of all the actors to play the Master, Sacha Dhawan was perhaps the most creative, constantly trying things out on set and never delivering 2 takes in the same way. This spontaneous approach involved plenty of extra flourishes, such as the Master casually throwing away the matchbox containing the miniaturized O in Spyfall Part 1. But Dhawan's biggest contribution was by far the Rasputin dance routine in The Power of the Doctor, which was also an unscripted addition. Dhawan said that he somehow misinterpreted the script, which didn't mention a dance at all. So, as you do, he showed up one day and just started busting some moves. As he explained to Radio Times, quote, "Hand on heart, I thought that was written in the script. So I think I danced for about 5-6 minutes. They must have been thinking, what the hell is he doing? No wonder the Daleks and the Cybermen look so baffled." Sure enough, the episode script doesn't specify that the Master should dance along with the song. Though from an actor as wild and energetic as Dhawan, did Chris Chibnall really expect anything less? If Sacha ends up winning Strictly one day, just remember, it all started with Doctor Who. And that concludes our list, but I'm sure you noticed this was 10 more moments, so this is of course a sequel, so make sure you check out the first video as well. In the meantime, I've been Ellie for Who Culture, and in the words of River Song herself, goodbye, sweeties.